I wanted to draw attention back to the very first thing that was said on this panel, which is an apology for the makeup of the panel, which is all white, all male, all over I'm assuming all over 33. I apologise it was there's an apology that I've already heard on at least 3 different panels I've watched this year, which is, we tried, but we couldn't find anything. And if we're talking here, if the crisis here is a lack of political imagination, should we not start with ourselves? Should we not? Is there not, like, we're sitting here? The problem is apparently a lack of imagination. But here we are, still sitting, in a discussion of the future of what is the largest, honest to God, countercultural movement we've seen for generations, and we're sitting here listening to 4 middle-aged guys tell us what's going to happen. I'm sorry. If you couldn't find a woman or a person of colour or a young person to tell you about where this movement is heading, then you haven't looked hard enough. I'm not even from New York, as you can hear, and I can name you a dozen young women of colour who have been on this panel and told you some things. So I think we should check ourselves. Whatever we is, whatever the we that we're talking about.
Okay, I hear you. All right. Okay. Yes, indeed. The question was, why did I lie when I said that we tried to find people to vary the makeup of the panel? Because the questioner has been to 3 or 4 panels where she heard people say the same thing. This year. That's amazing. I mean, I don't want to embarrass anybody by explaining what happened. But it wasn't that we couldn't find people. We did ask them, and for various reasons they couldn't make it. Okay? Honest to God, I have never lied to you, and I'm not lying to you now. But your point is well taken. Okay.
Why are you not inviting the women first?
I wasn't in charge of the invitations.
You as in, like, the people thinking the panels of this, I'm more drawing attention to, and I'm sorry, I would like to pick on you guys, but it seems to be more a structural problem in the fact that women and young people and people of colour are not thought of as the sort of people who should sit on these panels. It's more an alphabet of people that are writers, and now let's have, God, it's not looking that diverse.
Okay, it's more about the makeup of the panel. I'm going to be completely candid here, okay? We found out that David was available, okay? Bookstore asked me to set something up. I am ill, okay? I asked my colleagues to come because I knew them, and I asked them to help me find other people to come. That's the answer, okay? Let me make a historical point about this, because we spent a lot of time on this, and I think it's worth noting, because we talked earlier tonight about deliberate ways in which the student movement of the 60s was contained, frustrated, and so on. There is a very interesting theory about what the liberal grant-giving foundations did in the early 70s. We know about a lot of steps that business took and so on to make sure that what had happened in the 60s would never happen again, right? Very interesting story. Well, it's interesting to note that Ford and Rockefeller and the other foundations with strong CIA connections started giving grants in the early 70s to study race and gender, okay? There was a sudden move toward identity politics by these organizations, and the theory is that the reason they did this was to balkanize the left and to prevent it from pursuing any kind of a class or economic analysis. Without denying the justice of what you're saying, okay, whoops, this is not an irrelevant theory. I don't think, anyway. Okay. Yes.